North Korea claimed over the weekend that it has succeeded in developing a new controllable shell and ballistic control system for its multiple rocket launchers. Is the Korean Peninsula at risk of war? We're joined by Dr. Mark Barry this morning. Welcome back.
Good morning.
Dr. Barry, it is the first time that the North announced the test and development of the multiple rocket launcher shells. Why is the North making the progress public?
Well, of course, South Korea has known, its military has known that they've been developing this for quite some time. But I think by announcing it, they're basically demonstrating to the world and to potential customers that they can make precision-guided artillery munitions, which are fairly low cost. They're not as expensive as the more sophisticated and longer range weapons. But I think it's a way of showing both to South Korea, its allies, the U.S. and Japan, as well as to potential customers that we've got the stuff to do it and, keep us in mind in the future.
Right. That's also in line with the speculation that the North is looking to export this particular 240 millimeter caliber controllable multiple rocket launcher shells to Russia, right?
Well, if Putin is going to visit, let's say, between April and June, they would be very happy, North Korea, to be able to tell Putin and Defense Minister Shoigu that we've tested these things and we could demonstrate that the efficacy of these weapons to you or to your trusted staff, and keep us in mind for your defense needs in the future. So very much so, I think they have the Putin visit in mind and becoming a much longer-term customer, because whatever happens in the Ukraine war, the war chest of, in terms of munitions of Russia is going to be quite low, and they're going to need to backfill it. And North Korea would love to manufacture stuff that is sort of surplus for them to be able to sell to other customers like Russia.
Right, developing a new controllable shell and ballistic control system for its multiple rocket launchers, and also, countless missile launches beginning in the beginning of the year. Is North Korea headed for war in 2024? I mean, especially based on the two January 11 op-eds by Carlin Hecker and also by former U.S. Ambassador Gallucci. What's your take on this?
Well, when I first saw the op-eds and the fact that they were timed for the same day, January 11th, I thought this was earth-shaking, at least among the community of North Korea watchers. I think many people misunderstand what Carlin and Hecker are saying, which is that it's kind of like if you go to a family gathering and you meet an uncle that you haven't seen in a long time, who used to be rather friendly, even sometimes jovial, and would smile at you, but after many years of not seeing that uncle, you find out upon your new visit that this guy has changed and something is very profoundly different about him. Well, this is what Carlin and Hecker are basically saying, that for 34 years they've tried to bring about some engagement with the United States in order to offset the pressure, particularly from China and somewhat less so from Russia. But that 34 years has been one of failure. And it's something that the Kim dynasty, from grandfather to father to son, meaning Kim Jong-un, have pursued, because they always thought of the United States that although it was an imperialist power, much like China, Russia, and Japan, it was a benign imperialist power. So all of their dreams, if you will, have been shattered because the Hanoi visit, the Hanoi summit with Kim Jong-un and Trump, was such a disaster, which is the responsibility of both sides. But that's the very reason that North Korea has basically said, we've put all that past us, and now you see the new North Korea.
Right, I'm sure the Hanoi summit was a nightmare for the leader, Kim Jong-un. Dr. Barry, in the meantime, U.S. Secretary of Defense Austin is back in hospital again now with even more complications from his December surgery. I'm sure that's a huge concern for President Biden, with two wars raging for which Washington provides arms, isn't it?
It is, because, the surgery that he had is not that unusual, especially at his age of about 70. And normally it's a hassle, but it's not that big a deal to recover from. But he's had two emergencies since the surgery in mid-December. The first one had a lot of negative publicity about it because of the fact that he didn't delegate responsibility to the subordinate properly and inform the White House in a timely manner. This time he did, but the fact that he's made 2 emergency visits, and although he'll be released tomorrow, he frankly had to cancel his trip to Brussels this week. So I think it's raising a lot of questions. Is this going to be an ongoing urological issue, as well as any potential treatment for cancer, which may or may not be necessary? It may just need to be monitored. But when we last saw him in Dover, Delaware, receiving the bodies of the 3 Americans killed in the attack in Jordan, he was walking with a limp. So we just don't know. It's not a good look, particularly when President Biden's memory is being questioned by the Republican special counsel appointed by the Justice Department. It's not a good look for this administration.
Right. Before I let you go, Dr. Berry, briefly, I'd like to touch upon Seoul's Unification Minister Kim Yong-ho's remark last week that South Korea would share data on Japanese abductees with Tokyo. How much of a big deal is it?
I think it's a big deal. I think it's not being covered enough outside of Japan. The abductee issue is a very serious issue. And although South Koreans, many know that there are far more South Korean abductees since 1950 that may still be alive in the North. But this is such a critical issue, and the public take it so personally. And since Prime Minister Kishida said that he is making every effort to make some breakthrough diplomatically with the North in order to have a summit with Kim Jong-un, he's the only leader, not President Biden, not President Yoon, not any other Western leader at this point, other than Prime Minister Kishida, who's made a commitment to have a summit. So I applaud the Unification Minister, who happens to be my former doctoral classmate, for making an effort that I am not aware has ever been made by the ROK before, which is to share what intelligence and data they have on these abductees, because the Japanese government has always been convinced that there are far more abductees than those that have been acknowledged by North Korea or publicly by Japan. So the fact that this cooperation has been extended, I think, is an outgrowth of the August Camp David summit. And frankly, we should have we should be applauding and encouraging Prime Minister Kishida to try to make that breakthrough in 2024 and try to bring the tensions down with North Korea, because he's best positioned to do that.
All right, Dr. Berry, thank you so much for your insights. As always, we appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much.